Okay everybody, this is Shane at Wake Essentials. You can see I've got this huge Mariah deck boat. A lot of people are having troubles with these. They have a huge bimini on them. This deck boats are great for the big biminis, good family boats. But we can put a tower on them. We're gonna stick this big air ice tower on it. We're gonna put it all the way to the back so it clears the bimini and everybody can still have a good time and still wakeboard off of it. Let's go back through time and I'll show you step by step how we did it. Okay, we've got our ice here. We just cut it open. You just want to kind of do a quick visual, make sure you've got all your parts and everything looks good. We've got our front legs, our rear legs, our top bar, parts box, corners, instructions. Everything looks good. I think we can get going on it now. Okay, everybody, I wanted to talk a little bit about leveling the towers. We have a 4-foot level inside the boat on the floor. You want to level, it's really hard to find a point on a boat to really level. So about the only thing can go off of would be the floor first. You want to level the boat this way and then use the jack to level it this way. That's about as good as you're going to be able to get. But a 4-foot level is going to be very difficult to use when you're leveling the mounts on the boat. The aesthetics of the boat, the lines and the contours, they're never right. This particular boat, I think they're 3/4 of an inch off. But we want the tower level. So what we use, I don't know what the proper word is. I call it a bubble level or water level. All it is, I went to Ace Hardware and bought some clear plastic tubing and put some water in it. The theory is the water level is always going to be equal. If you can see the two bubbles in there, they're always going to level off with each other no matter what you do. I can drop it and pull it back up. They're gonna level off with each other, always. So get a buddy or something for a couple of minutes, run him to one side, him put on the mark, and then you can come over here to the other side and just put your bubble up there and then mark it where the bubble is. It's always gonna be right. That's, gravity on water. It's always gonna be right. Okay, everybody, we've got inside the boat. We've made sure everything is clear. We can get to everything. We decided we want to put the rear mount right here. The manufacturer of this tower suggests 40 to 60 inches from the front to back stance. So we know where we want to be here. So now we're going to pull off of it and put our mark up here. This particular tower has a single top bar. So we don't have to make sure we're level this way because if it doesn't have a double top bar, you're not going to level the H. So we just measure off, go where we think we want it, put our mark here. Use our bubble level, make sure we're good, equal to the other side at the same location. And then we can drill our hose and mount it, super easy. Okay, we've established our level marks now. This particular manufacturer gives you 2 different types of gaskets. This one actually has a curve on the gasket, and it's gonna fit the contour of this boat perfectly. So I take the mark we've established, put it dead center in the hole, and then take my pencil, marking on this painter's tape to protect your hull. Just make you a little circle, and that's going to be your drill location. We're going to do the same thing with the front mount, put it over the mark that we've established with the tape measure, draw a little circle, and that'll be our drill spot. Okay, this particular tower uses a single bolt mount. So what I did, I first used a smaller bit to start a pilot hole. And then I go with a bigger one. This one's a 9/16. I've already drilled halfway through it, just kind of save a little bit of time. So I'm still running in reverse. Really easy work, no problem. So then you're gonna remove your tape. And then what we're gonna use is a grinding ball. You can get this little ball at most of your little neighborhood hardware stores. I think this one actually came from Ace. Just chuck it up in your drill, just like a drill bit. Put it on there. And do that. That's all you're doing is you're putting a bevel on the hull. So the gel coat doesn't contact anything hard, because that's going to propagate little cracks in your gel coat. It's a visual thing. It's not going to be damaging to your boat, but it looks bad. So dress that hole. Get that back from there. You won't have any problems with it after that. Okay, now we're ready to put the mounts in the holes. These backers, personally I like to use both of them, but the inside of your boat hull is not always perfectly flat. So what I do personally is I'll take the big one, line it up over the hull, and then you can see where the contour of the boat takes away from, starts leaving this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna kind of get a visual of it, and I'm gonna take it outside to the curb or whatever you've got, and take a hammer, and I'm gonna shape this to match that shape. It's not always gonna be perfect compared to the inside, because you never know where the manufacturers put some thicker fiberglass or not. So it may take a little bit of tweaking, but get it as close as possible. The better the fit, the better the protection you have. Okay, now we're ready to put the mounts on the boat. We have our holes drilled. This particular manufacturer sends us 2 different styles of gaskets. One of them is flat on both sides, and one of them is flat on one side, and then there's a contour to the other side. This contour is going to be used if the location that you're mounting has a curve to the boat. If that's the case, you use the contour one. If your location is nice and flat, you're going to use the flat one. But this one's curved. So you take your mount. I know the manufacturer says blue Loctite, but going into the mounts, I like to use red Loctite. That's just a little more holding power, because I know this isn't going to come off. So you just put your mount on put your gasket on the mount, grease the threads. That's a big problem. I've done it many times. If you don't grease them, it's going to destroy the boat, and then you'll be buying new ones, and that's not fun. So once you get that, grease your threads, and you just put it through there. You want to kind of use a little bit of forethought and try to maybe get this angled the way your leg's going to be, but don't tighten your bolt on the inside all the way, because you're never going to get it exactly right. So leave it a little bit loose, but tight enough that it can support the tower. And then you can always tweak it later. Okay, everybody, here we are on our mounts. To save time, I went ahead and got ahead a little bit, but I will tell you, this hull was super thin, like less than 1/4 of an inch. So I ordered a hull kit from Big Air. It comes with 4 pieces of marine grade plywood and some adhesive. We gooped some of that adhesive on the back of it, stabbed the base through it, put the plywood up, and then bolted it with the aluminum backers that come with it. Tightened up. Now you see it's real sturdy, no flexing in the hull. The back one didn't need it. It's up here towards the top and round edge of the boat, really thick fiberglass, no problem, no need. So we're good to go. I guess we're ready to stab the legs on this side and get them in that top bar and get this tower finished. Okay, this particular customer wants some speakers and a navigation light. So we cut off enough wire to make it in both directions, but we push it from the central location. The manufacturer gives us a trough right here that we can run our wires through. It's very easy to do, just push it through and then you just reconnect. We've pushed up enough wire on this end so we can pull the navigation light up through the nav, and then the 2 speakers we'll do later whenever we know where we're going to mount the speakers, and then we'll pull the speaker wires down with a little piece of wire, just make it like a pick. Then going this way, we pulled out enough wire that we can make it to the power source for the nav and to the radio for the speakers. Okay, with the leg in the corner that we previously wired, we put those together and we went ahead and we mounted it on the boat. And then we laid it back on the boat and used some of the foam that the tower pieces came in to protect the boat and the tower. Okay, and then the speaker wire and the nav wire that we had sticking out the corner, we've pushed it up into the top bar. Make sure you use this liner. This protects you because you're not quite sure yet where the top bar is going to end up at. So without this liner, it may scratch your bar and then scratches will show and that'll be ugly. You don't want to do that. Okay, for the nav light, that can be kind of difficult to wire. So the easy way to do that is take you a short piece of wire, push it down through here. Before you slide your top bar in, you have your wires exposed. You make your connections in your wires, tape them up real good because you're not going to be getting to them again. Tape them up real good, push them in there, and then just slide your top bar on with the liner. Then you just wire it up on the nav, push the wires down in the hole, and then just screw it down. Just like the cap came off, screw the nav light on. Really simple to do. Now we'll get started on the other side. Okay, we've got our other leg and our other quarter slid in. Again, these plastic liners here, I don't know if you can see it, but they are very important. I have totally ruined tower corners from not using these plastic liners, and they are expensive, so use the liner, they're worth it. Okay, here we are, we got the tower in, we got it up, everything's loose. This is the trick to this type of tower. It's called the preload. We're gonna bring this tower in, right now it's in its relaxed state. We're gonna bring it in approximately 6 inches per side. So you can see our numbers Before we put the tower up, we hooked the tape on the end of the corner and pulled it back and put a mark every 2 inches. That gives us a reference, so we'll know that when we're all said and done, we're centered on the boat. And it also lets us know how much we're pulling it in. So you can see I've already got the ratchet straps around from the toe knob out to the legs on both sides. So now I'll just show you a little bit about how we're pulling them in. You see it just jumps right in there, no problem. The liner's going right there with it, protecting it. We'll cut that off later on after we're all drilled and everything. Okay, we've got the tower all together. Everything is centered. We've got our equal preload put in there. Make sure your toe point is centered. Make sure it's centered going front and back. You don't want it leaning all out. That'll kind of be goofy. I've already got all these drilled. Now, I'm not worried about hitting the wires inside there. It's never happened before, so I know I'm not going to start worrying about it now. All right, so let's get this last one drilled out. All right, it's easy as that. Stick your bolts through there, tighten her down real good. You want to get a little bit of a squeeze on there. That's going to cause the pipes to really marry together good. And that should be it. Let's get her tight. Let's get her bolted up. Okay, we've got our tower installed. All the top bar bolts are nice and tight. Everything's done up there. The final thing we're going to do is all these hidden connectors that were left loose, a thread or two loose, so that way we can maneuver stuff, get everything centered, get it all like we like it. So now we take the Sharpie and we put a little mark across the tube and then across the leg end. So that way we can remove everything, tighten it all up, and keep that Sharpie mark in line. So when we put it back together, everything goes back together nice and perfect. Okay, everybody, as you can see, we've got it on, everything's done. Cleared the bimini. These big deck boats seem to have that problem a lot. Instead of putting a huge tower on it, we can just move it all the way to the back and suck it up to it, and everything went real good. Now I'll just call this owner and he can come get it and get this booger in the water. Everybody see you at the lake and have a blessed summer.